Printers Business of the Month.
The Vault Community Center on Mr. Lincoln Square in Clinton is a nonprofit teen community center offering an environment for social, academic, and spiritual growth through opportunities and services. They'll receive a $200 gift certificate, good at Lincoln printers and sign designs, for being our WHOW WEZC Lincoln Printers Business of the Month. Nominate a business you'd like featured by emailing us at WHOW@randyradio.com.
Congratulations to this local business for all they do for the community. And don't forget, for envelopes, wedding invitations, signs, banner wraps, and more, go to LincolnPrintersInc.com.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The announcement of Meyer Industries and Quickwall coming to Clinton in 2025 is sure to spur further growth in 2026. By year's end, DeWitt County could be looking at 500 new jobs, says Kurt Homan, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council. He indicates Meyer continues its search for employees, and Quickwall will soon be nearing fully operational.
And I think ultimately double or triple that original number.
No kidding.
Is where we'll end up. And by the way, the 2 days for the job fairs were very successful. Mm-hmm. But if people did not make it out, I would encourage them still to apply for those positions, because they are going to, on a monthly basis, continually add employees until they get to that number that they feel like they need.
Sure.
So if you missed them, don't not apply. Mm-hmm. Please do. I think 500 is the number between those two.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, Quickwall, some of those folks will commute in, but existing employees will commute. They won't necessarily, but over time, obviously, more and more people will relocate here, especially with some housing. And regardless of that, people are still going to shop here that are here working. Just how it works, whether it's gas, groceries, fast food, whatever it is.
Sure. Homan indicates the announcements of Quickwall and Meyer last year have already created momentum in new business likely coming to Clinton in 2026. While he cannot talk about it, he says announcements could be made, quote, very, very soon.
Obviously, housing again is a huge focus, but our primary focus has always been business and bringing in new business, helping business expand, and helping business stay open. Those are our three primary objectives that we always carry over, and that continues certainly. So we didn't take away from any of those things with housing. We really added to it. So you will see, with TIF districts, part of what we're lining out, of course, is where is that commercial growth going to go with the additional, the manufacturing positions. You're bringing in new people, that's going to attract additional business, and it already has attracted additional business that will be showing up very, very soon. And so again, all of that is in the planning and development stages for sure.
Additionally, Homan anticipates dirt being moved this year for more housing development in Clinton as the city pursues TIF districts for both residential and business districts. He feels there is a lot of positive excitement in Clinton for what is happening. Clinton Lake and Weldon Springs are seeing an increase in fishermen and foot traffic as a nice stretch of weather allows for outdoor activity. That's according to Illinois Department of Natural Resources Conservation Police Officer Noah Workman, who told the Heart Media Group on the WHOW Morning Show Thursday that there has been a noticeable increase in foot traffic at Weldon Springs and more fishermen at Clinton Lake in the last week.
So I've noticed a lot more traffic out at Clinton Lake. The boats, I actually saw boats with trailers out on, or trucks with trailers and boats on the water 2 days ago, I think we had
No
that
kidding.
60-degree, high 50 day. There were probably about 3 trailers out there. So I know the fishermen are getting out there with their boats again. Going on Route 10, I've noticed a lot of trucks pulling boats. I jog and exercise out at Weldon Springs quite a bit, and I've just noticed a lot more traffic, car and pedestrian walking on the roadways. Yeah, it's been nice to see. I'm glad to see that the weather's breaking and people are starting to get out and utilize the parks more.
If you're headed to Weldon Springs, the popular barn trail is going to look a little different. Workman indicates that just last week, the barns on the trail were taken down via a controlled burn.
I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. I've really liked the barns. I've enjoyed, I've lived out there now for 4 or 5 years, and I used to take my dog walking back there and look inside those barns. Took my kid out there quite a bit. She loved going and looking at the barns. We'd walk out there, walk through the barns, climb up in the hayloft. Because of the liability issue, they never closed them off. They were open to the public to go in and out of. And I think the state just said, liability wise, we got to get. So I haven't been back there in the last week. That house is going to eventually go. But last time I went back there to go see the progress when they were burning down the barns, that house was still standing.
Okay.
But I know that house, I believe, if I heard correctly, they're going to work with the Clinton Fire Department and they're going to do a control burn on that. I don't know if the fire department's going to use it for a training or if they were just going to go out there and conduct the burn. But I know that, or I heard that the state was working with the local fire department to go out and burn.
Additionally, a significant number of trees were taken down on the north end of Weldon Springs recently. Workman explains the plan is to reseed those areas with native prairie grass.
They removed the barn trail or the barns on the trail. They were becoming a safety hazard, liability issue. They were old. I think they had been 100 years old. They did a control burn. I think it was last week, over the last 2 weeks. Yeah, they removed them. And then before that, they brought in a heavy equipment and hydroaxed all that invasive trees. So back there, it is completely unrecognizable. So it's on the north side of the Weldon Springs. So if you go over the park offices, it's everywhere north of there up to, I think it's the Graves property that borders it. All that back there. They took a hydroax in there, took all of the invasive trees, it chipped everything. And the long-term 2-year plan for them is they're going to reseed it and it's going to grow up to look like the prairie grass over by the schoolhouse trail. They're still going to cut out trails for people to walk on and enjoy, but it might take a year or two because right now it is just littered with wood chips from taking out all that alamala. And they did a little touch-up areas where they had some heavy amount of invasive trees. They brought they had the hydroax machine there. They went ahead and utilized the gentleman there to whack out some other areas.
Officer Workman indicates the lake is seeing an uptick in fishermen recently, with the boat ramps now clear of snow and ice. The ramps are starting to see more activity as well. Research from a University of Illinois graduate student hopes to better understand crop beef cattle operations. A key goal is to find the right balance in grazing and harvesting cereal rye made in rotation between corn and soybean crops and what can impact these plans. Grady Gullickson, a graduate student in the Department of Animal Sciences, is leading the project. He says it involves experiments with livestock on farmland, which has corn and soybean plants.
And last spring, we had a lot of work being put into, should we graze or should we harvest the cereal rye that we have on this corn soybean rotation, and seeing if there's any benefits and hopefully hardly any detriments to that. And we're able to put about 20 cows on 10 acres for 17 days and just calculating how much forage mass are we getting from that. But alongside, we're also harvesting, and what we did was wet bale the cereal rye. And ultimately, you can feed it any time of the year. And what are some advantages and disadvantages to that? And when you're working with this stuff, weather is always a big factor to that. And it was something we ran into, but it just kind of shows the year-to-year differences. And what you get one year might be different than the next. But we were able to get some grazing days from those cows, but we're also able to harvest those bales, and we can feed it any time of the year.
This methodology puts the project at the mercy of the weather, which requires adjusting, just like in the real world.
When we're talking forages and forage qualities, as the plant gets more and more mature, yeah, we get a lot of yield, but at the same time, our quality is going to start decreasing dramatically. And what we graze, we were in a vegetative state. So we were getting some higher protein, higher TDN, a lot of high quality nutrients for that animal. But sometimes the weather doesn't always play nice. We got 17 days of grazing. We weren't actually able to harvest until about a month after when we put the cows out. So about 16 days after we pulled the cows is when we were actually able to bale. And at that point, we got a lot of tonnage. But when we look back at our quality, it's just not as high quality, and you might need to supplement a little bit depending on when you harvest. But on the flip side of that, it takes a couple days to harvest, so you can get in whenever it's convenient for you and what you want for tonnage and quality. Whereas grazing, you're relying on the weather.
Gullickson says finding the right balance between grazing and harvesting is complex, but important for producing good yields. The Dudley Smith Farm Field Day was earlier this week in Christian County. More information is available at extension.illinois.edu. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device from DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com.
Here's Hart Media Group owner Matt Hart talking about being in front of our audience on multiple platforms.
This what we call the second screen, right? It's the phone, because now we don't watch television one screen at a time. We're constantly watching two screens. You might be watching the University of Illinois football game on Saturday on your big screen, but you got your phone there. And when a commercial comes on or a timeout comes on, you're watching that second screen. And we want to make sure that we're positioned to be on the second screen, whether it's social media, we want to be there.
Hart purchased the Miller Media Group in Clinton in August of 2025.
Here's Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson on how he works to save you money every day.
I watch the Decatur market very carefully. I stay under these, supposed low price chains, and I make sure I'm under them. So anybody that's rushing to Decatur or other towns to buy commodity items like flour and sugar and milk and eggs and things that matter are fooling themselves. We are cheaper or as cheap on all the items that matter, and I make sure of that.
And as Dave always says,
hope to see you soon.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4-lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sportswire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. The Clinton Lady Maroons wrapped up the regular season with 23 consecutive wins as they took down the Decatur St. Teresa Lady Bulldogs by a final score of 53-35 in non-conference high school girls basketball action on Thursday night in Decatur. St. T kept the game close through the first quarter, trailing 11-8 after the first. Clinton took control from there, outscoring the Lady Bulldogs 33-19 through the second and third quarters. Carly Anderson led all scorers with 23 points, including 12 points from beyond the arc. She bounced back after scoring 12 points in total in Wednesday's outing against Cerro Gordo Vermette. Avery Smith added 14 points and Lila Kluber had 9. Sol Corley led the way for St. Teresa with 13 points. Maya Howley added 8 points. With the win, Clinton improved to 27-4 and heads to the postseason on a 23-game win streak. The Lady Bulldogs fall to 13-12. Clinton will start the postseason as the 2 seed in the El Paso Gridley Regional. They will take on the winner of tomorrow's matchup between Maroa Forsyth and Sangamon Valley. Tip-off is 6 p.m. on Tuesday. Hear the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. The Monticello Lady Sages beat the Danville Lady Vikings by a final score of 51-44 in non-conference high school girls basketball action on Thursday night in Danville. Monticello led 12-11 after the first quarter and grew the gap to 23-19 at the half. They outscored the Lady Vikings 28-25 in the second half. Allie Widener paced Monticello with a double-double, scoring 17 points and grabbing 11 rebounds. Maddie Melton had 14 points and was just 1 rebound short of a double-double with 9. Monticello finishes the regular season with a record of 17-14, while Danville falls to 10-17. The Lady Sages will begin their postseason run as the 4 seed, and when they take on 5th-seeded Prairie Central on Monday. Tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. in Fairbury. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Tune in tonight as the boys take on Champaign St. Thomas More at the Seaver Center. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Hear the boys' regular season action on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Johnny Kinziger had 21 points in Illinois State's 86-64 win against Valparaiso on Thursday. Kinziger shot 7 of 15 from the field, including 3 for 8 from three-point range, and went 4 for 4 from the line for the Redbirds, who improved to 17-9 and 9-6 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Tyreek Coleman scored 14 points and added 5 rebounds. Chase Walker went 4 of 4 from the field to finish with 11 points. JT Pettigrew led the way for the Beacons with 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 2 blocks. The Beacons fall to 13-13 and 7-8 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Valparaiso also got 13 points from Brody Whitaker. Rakim Cheney also had 10 points and 2 steals. Led by 11 points from Walker before the break, Illinois State entered halftime tied with Valparaiso at 34. Kinziger led his club in second half scoring with 13 points. Former Oklahoma City Thunder forward Ousmane Dieng had 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists and 4 blocks, and the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 110-93 on Thursday night. The Thunder traded Dieng just before the deadline. The 6'9" Frenchman was the G League Finals MVP as the Oklahoma City Blue won the championship in 2024 and a Thunder reserve. Both teams were missing important pieces. Milwaukee coach Doc Rivers was out attending a funeral, and assistant Darvin Ham filled in. Bucks All-Star Giannis Antetokounmpo was out with a right calf strain. Oklahoma City played without reigning MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and co-star Jalen Williams. Both will be reevaluated after the All-Star break. AJ Green scored 17 points for the Bucks, and Bobby Portis added 15 points and 12 rebounds. Isaiah Joe scored 17 points, and Chet Holmgren added 16 and 13 rebounds for the Thunder, who were coming off road wins against LA Lakers and Phoenix. Nikola Topic, who had not played this season after being diagnosed with testicular cancer, made his NBA debut. The number 12 pick in the 2024 draft, who also missed his first season with a torn ACL, entered the game late in the first quarter and received a loud ovation. Topic scored his only basket on a shot from near the free throw line early in the second quarter. He finished with 2 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in 12 minutes. Milwaukee controlled most of the first half, but a flurry by Holmgren kept the Thunder relatively close. Holmgren scored 11 points in the final 3 minutes and 10 seconds of the first half, but the Bucks led 67-55. Milwaukee extended its lead in the third quarter, holding the Thunder to 16 points and taking an 89-73 lead in the fourth. The Bucks extended their lead to 24 points in the final period. The Bucks are at New Orleans on Friday, February 20th, while the Thunder host Brooklyn on Friday, February 20th. In other NBA games, just last night, the Portland Trailblazers took down the Utah Jazz 135-119, and the LA Lakers beat the Dallas Mavericks 124-104. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Struggling with corn rootworm, equipment clogs, and costly slowdowns? Say hello to Apello, a new soil-applied insecticide from Syngenta. Powered by planazoline technology, Apello is a smooth, tank mix-friendly formulation that tackles rootworm with ease. Say goodbye to the past and hello to bigger bushels and better returns at brighterwithapello.com. Always read and follow label instructions. Apello is a restricted-use pesticide.
The growers have spoken, and they're raving about Storin corn herbicide. We surveyed over 1,000 customers who've made the switch to Storin, and 99% said they'd recommend it to a friend. That's right, 99%. With a 9 out of 10 satisfaction rating, it's clear why Storin is the herbicide customers can count on. But don't just take our word for it. Ask your Syngenta retailer or visit StorinReviews.com to read testimonials from Storin users near you. Always read and follow label instructions.
The WHOW Morning Show is now video streamed live on the WHOW WEZC DeWittDailyNews.com Facebook page and on the new WHOW TV YouTube channel. Watch morning show host Seth Lawrence interview guests live, as well as watch archived video podcasts of any interview you missed. Whether on Facebook or YouTube, we're providing 2 more ways that Central Illinois' local news station, WHOW, delivers compelling content for you.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays, tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW AM, FM, and streamed online.
Tuning in and listening to the news, hearing what's happening with local views across the country or in my town. I tune in to find out what's going down. Yeah, yeah. Local radio, keeping me informed in my community. Local radio, creates unity.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The clock is counting down to a partial government shutdown. Funding for the Department of Homeland Security is to run out at midnight. Taiwan and the U.S. have a new trade deal. It will see the island reduce or eliminate 99% of tariffs on American goods. The U.S. lowers tariffs on Taiwanese exports to 15%. Taiwan is also pledging to buy more than $84 billion worth of U.S. goods. The FBI is boosting to $100,000, the reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. And a fresh crew is on its way to the International Space Station. Liftoff took place early this morning from Florida. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures in the red. The Dow futures are down 122 points, and the NASDAQ futures are off 109. More details, srnnews.com.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you're just not happy with what you've got, you still have a choice. It's called MetaShare, and it's proven for more than 30 years. It is proven